Now, say my name.
The Rolling Bad Podcast.
You're goddamn right.
Welcome to the Rolling Bad Podcast, episode number 59, coming to you from the snow-capped hinterlands of Durango, Colorado. We're recording on December 22nd. I'm your host, Bill Costello, and with me, of course, is
Ryan Taylor.
Second time we've ever recorded somewhere that wasn't my house. So I drove up to Ryan's.
Yeah, I appreciate it. My wife didn't want me to travel due to it being very near to Christmas.
Yeah.
So.
And it's about time. You've driven down many times for the show, so it's about time I did one. So, as part of our intro today, I want to throw a quick shout out to our newest patron, Levi Bennett, from the Denver group of AOS players. So, thank you, Levi. Appreciate that.
Thanks, Levi.
And I also want to tell a quick story. It's one of those Christmas cool stories. And I want to throw a shout out and thank Dave Witek from Garage Hammer, because he made me a killer deal on a whole bunch of his old Mantic zombies. And I got those in the other day. And what I bought them for was for a young fella out there in Albuquerque who doesn't have a lot of spare cash to throw around, but he truly loves his death armies. He's, one of the things that's usually hard is it's almost easy. You can get the bigger pieces of your army, people give them to you as gifts, but the battle lines are hard to bring up in decent numbers. And he was having some problems with that. So getting all those was huge. I spoke to his parents and, told them what I was doing, and they were overjoyed. And then we went to the Warhammer store to pick up the paints he was going to need. Because one of the nice parts about the stuff Dave sent me is there's like 20 of them that are unpainted. They're just primed.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so he'll be able to practice painting and do all that other stuff, but he's got a ready-to-run group of zombies now, so he's going to be one happy kid on Christmas Day. The other thing that's going to make his day is he's a fan of Garage Hammer also, and I told his parents to tell him that those came from Dave Witek.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so he's going to freak out. It's going to be great. So, yeah, just wanted to throw those two shout-outs out there.
Spreading the cheer.
Mm-hmm. Good cheer. It's a good thing. Okay. My microphone just dropped. All right, whatever. Anyhow, for the show today, we're going to do our year-end review. We're going to cover our top models, top products, and what else?
Yeah, that's going to be... Maybe we could throw in our top books.
Yeah,
if we've
true.
read any.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Probably audiobooks for me, but
yeah.
I think a lot of shows are going to be doing this around about this time, so we're going to try and keep it a little bit shorter than just going through the year and going, in January we did this.
Yeah, no, none of that.
No, we're going to pick our highlights and go from there.
And some honorable mentions. And then in a kind of an abridged lore segment, we're gonna concentrate a little bit more. We started our narrative campaign talk last episode. We're going to continue on, and we're going to sort of expand on that topic a little bit, talk about starting a narrative campaign and how to get going and how to really think about, what to do and how to get people engaged. So, and also today we're going to do the second drawing of our 3 drawings for the contest or for the prizes. Again, made some prize packs of just different GW stuff and some expo things and, all that little weird stuff to give away to people. I want to send a big shout out to last week's winners because both of them live in England, and it wasn't until after, I contacted them and got their addresses and all this stuff, I went down to see what it was going to cost to mail this stuff. And the big hang-up was the posters, the Blackstone Fortress posters. So to do one of those large mailing tubes, which I would have to do a large tube in order to get the rest of the stuff into one package, yeah, that costs about $200 a piece to send. And they're not exactly close to each other. So It's not like send to one and then he can just pick it up. So... yeah, that was crazy. So I talked to both of them and they both said, yeah, it's cool. Leave those out. Just send the rest of the stuff. So thank you guys. I really appreciate it. Tom Eilert and Neil Curtis.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. And at the end of today's podcast, we're going to draw 2 more names. And then we'll give the word for the last contest.
Yeah, and I think this is Bill's turn to come up with a word.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
I better start thinking.
Yeah, hashtag Bob. It's all good. Okay, let's move on.
That's going to be the show. There'll be no New Dawn. Instead of New Dawn, we'll just talk about the top products that we thought of. So we'll take a quick break and be right back.
Okay, this section is the New Dawn, where we're going to talk briefly about the new releases from Games Workshop and then go into our top lists for the year. Top 3, really, in every section, bar books, maybe, because I don't know if I've read 3 books this year. It's pretty bad. But the new release this week, out today, is Wrath and Rapture.
Yeah.
The Khorne versus Slaaneshi Demon box. Beautiful models.
Yeah.
A repack of some things.
Yeah.
The battle line.
Yes.
Some new rules, some new points.
Yep.
But I think the highlights for me, anyway, on the Khorne side, has to be the new Flesh Hounds.
Oh, yeah.
Great looking models compared to the models that were before. A lot of dynamicism. We've seen this sort of style a couple of times.
Yeah.
From the Shade Spire box and also actually the starter kit.
Yeah.
Back in AOS 1.0.
Mm-hmm.
But I think they've just taken it to 11. I think the movement, a lot of people, a little salty. They've moved them back to the small cav base, which I've heard a little grumbling because they were on that and then they moved to 50 rounds and then they're back on.
Yeah.
So hopefully those people kept those original ones. And then Karnak definitely got a beefed up version.
Oh, yeah. He is. That model is just amazing. Wow.
Yeah. And the rules aren't too bad as well. They gave them attacks for all these heads this time rather than just 2.
I have 3 heads.
Yeah. One of them is just howling constantly.
It's always angry.
But there's some cool parts on that model. There's a couple of things like one of the frills has had a bite taken out of it from one of the other heads. So each of the heads seem to be independent.
Yeah, just a little.
Which now I just imagine when Karnak's like, that's my prey. And one of the heads like, nope.
That's the other one.
What about this one? Okay, let's go forward. Who controls which leg?
I know. And the head in the middle is like, oh, come on, guys.
There's just that one on the top just flapping back and forth. Doesn't have a neck. But yeah, I think that's my favorite from the Khorne side for sure. And then, hands down, for me anyway, it has to be the Fiends on the Slaanesh side. The new Fiends.
Wow.
They've just taken an existing model and brought up to par, which you definitely can't complain about.
No. The new stuff that's out there for Slaanesh is, wow, it's just crazy. It really makes you look forward to next year and what's going to come out next, know.
What is that Keeper of Secrets going to look like?
Oh, my God.
We know it's going to be coming. I just can't wait to have all 4 gods demons on my shelf.
Mm-hmm.
Never to play with, but they will be built and probably look beautiful in grey.
Oh, hell yes. They'll look gorgeous.
So it'll be interesting to see how that comes out for sure. And then the other model I think people are excited about is Enchantress. The harp playing with the claw lady.
That model is gross. I mean, it's perfect.
Yeah, it's definitely a clear signal from Games Workshop that they're not toning this back.
No.
As a lot of people feared. Interestingly, though, it's not on their website as a 360 spin around. So marketing from maybe Games Workshop was like, we probably shouldn't do that.
Yeah, maybe not.
But beautiful model, beautiful box.
Yeah.
You get quite a bit in it. I was just having a flick through. You've got build guides for everything, which are all little booklets, including stats for both 40k and Age of Sigmar.
And that's the huge draw for this box is this thing crosses over between both game systems perfectly. So, I mean, none of this stuff is exclusive to one or the other. So if you're like me and you're interested in both, this is a huge value. Huge value.
Yeah, and even if you're running either Slaanesh or Khorne, there's summoning mechanics. 90% of this box can be summoned.
Right.
The 2 characters I don't think can, but everything else can be, and that's even if you're running one of them, you can grab one side or split a box with someone. It just gives you everything you need for that summoning part of your army that, sometimes you maybe forget about, and you don't, even if you're running just mortals for Khorne, for example, you still want to have that option, but you don't want to go out and spend money after money after money. So just collect a set, split it with someone who's maybe racking up depravity points. Hopefully just in the game. But just share with them that, and then you've got your summoning pill.
Yeah.
Really simply. And then there is that joint book, which has a bunch of lore in there for both factions, including a page at the back, which I really liked. I just saw it there, which is, why are these two armies fighting? And it looks like you do a d6 roll if you wanted to, or just pick your favorite. And we'll touch on that a little bit later when we get to our lore section.
Yeah.
On setting up maybe a campaign or some linked battles. But that's really it for releases.
Yeah.
Quiet week. The Noise Marine got released today.
Yeah.
As well. But guess what? No releases.
Yeah.
On Christmas week.
Oh, who knew?
One thing before we get into our top 3 that I do want to mention is take a look at the Warhammer community site. They've got a little picture up there, and it started off with a beautiful, idyllic scene, a little house.
Snowscape. Yeah.
Yep, a little Stormcast snowman. And over the last week, it started to change. Some mushrooms appeared.
Yeah.
The snowman changed into a goblin. And then today, all the lights went out in the house.
Yeah.
And there was little steps in the snow.
Cool.
So whoever's done that, I don't know who it is from the community team that is doing that animation, but well done.
Yeah.
You're getting the hype up there for that destruction battle tome, whatever it looks like. I think based on this, it's going to be that Moon Clan.
Yeah.
Look at it. But
with all those mushrooms. Yeah.
Yeah. And then they also released what Gorka Morka looks like to each of the different factions in destruction.
Right.
Well. And for Moon Clan, it's all about that bad moon.
Yeah.
And the moon in the picture is slowly starting to change as well.
Yeah.
So hats off. It's a subtle way to do it, rather than having a ticker or articles every day.
A countdown thing would have been just, whatever.
Yeah, because when it first came up, I was like, oh, they're wishing us Merry Christmas. Mm-hmm. Didn't think too much of it. And then someone was like, it's changed. I'm like, what do you mean it's changed? Oh.
Yeah, it's changing all
and it drew me to the site.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, and you want to see what it's looking like now. So,
yeah, by the time you've read this, maybe it'll be, even worse for whoever lived in that house. Yeah. Or maybe they're just Santa's elves.
Yeah, could be.
And everybody went to bed. I highly doubt it.
Me too. Me too.
We'll see how it goes.
Yep.
So, okay, so the next part of this section is going to be our top 3s.
Yeah.
We're going to go over miniatures, products, and then which might contain miniatures.
Yeah, true.
And then also books
as
well, or fiction, lore. I think would probably be the best thing on there. So how about you take us off with your number 3, Bill?
Okay, so my number 3 model of the year, the Eidolon of Mathland. I don't play Idoneth Deepkin, but looking at that model, you realize how far they've come and their ability to design and present an aesthetic that is just over the top. Now, I say I don't play it, my wife does. Got a good close-up look at it, and, plus some of the ones like that other big good painters have put together, and it's like a blank canvas. You can do anything with it. Now, I mean, I know you've seen Aquaman. I've seen Aquaman just last night.
You mean
the movie?
DC's Idoneth Deepkin?
Yeah,
movie?
Exactly. Because you go to that movie and you see everything in the Idoneth Deepkin line at some point in that movie. And it's just, I cannot wait to see what people do inspired by that movie with these models. That Eidolon it's going to get nuts.
Yeah. It looks great. There's, it was funny because I actually saw a conversion where someone had taken the Alapex and put a dragon head on it.
Oh.
And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. And then I went and saw Aquaman, and they have seahorses that look pretty much like that.
Yeah.
And I was like, well done.
Yeah.
I wonder if you saw it beforehand.
Exactly.
If you didn't, well done.
Yeah.
Inspired. But
exactly.
yeah, if you're a Deepkin player, check out Aquaman.
Yeah.
It's inspiration left, right, and center.
Yeah, it's everything in your army is there.
Yep.
And
they've got alapexes, they've got
the sea turtles are there.
Yeah, they've got a Leviathan.
Yeah.
Shows up.
And
it's actually it's something that because we had been talking about me potentially doing Deepkin for the campaign, and I was leaning towards Chaos, definitely. And then I saw this film. But there was a cool mix of both fish, like natural creatures, and then creatures inspired off natural creatures.
Right.
Which I think could just fit in the Mortal Realms.
Yeah.
Really easily. So a more technologically advanced Deepkin might be a spin that I've not seen yet. Anybody do. I'm sure there's someone out there that has.
Someone's going to do it, and it's going to be amazing. I just know it.
So yeah, and that model, I think that you really like, is a step forward in miniature design, right?
Yeah.
It looks super fragile, but from everybody that I've spoken to, it's super sturdy.
Yeah.
You know? It does have, I think, one issue with its weapon, but it's an elf weapon.
Right.
But it's not where I would think it would break.
Yeah.
You look at that model and you go, that cloak's dead.
Yeah. It'll never work.
But the reports and from what I've seen on the tabletop, it's solid.
Yeah, they're fine.
Yeah.
So what's your number 3?
My number 3 is a slightly smaller model in the Fungoid Cave Shaman.
Awesome.
I think mainly because it took an existing aesthetic for the Moon Clan and just ramped up to 11, right? And the whole maligned portents thing was super cool as well. Yeah. But to have this just crazy goblin run around, his hat, his little mushroom hat, just fantastic.
Yeah, it's great. It's a brilliant interpretation and kind of showing you where they want to go with it. It is a great choice. That is a great choice.
Yeah, and hopefully we see more stuff like that very soon, and then I can pick it for my 2019 best model.
Nice.
Okay, moving it up a little bit into second place.
Second place, which for me is really weird because this should be number 1, but it's actually only number 2. But that was the Great Unclean one. That release in January that just threw me for a loop and made me nurgle all over again. It's such an awesome model. God.
Yeah, and it goes together great. It paints up really well.
Yeah.
You can spend as much time or as little time on it, and it'll still look great.
Stunning.
And it tripled the size of the model that we had in place. It made it the Forge World one, but in plastic.
Yeah.
Which is customability of that as well is just great.
What got me about that model was it was one of the first ones I saw that you got every variation of weapon and head, and they were very easy to customize or magnetize so that you could build it however you want. And, you could magnetize the different heads, the arms, the weapons, and you could experiment with every different combination that was out there without committing to buying 6 of these things to have the different variations. You buy 3 and you have a thrice full befoulment rigged out however you want. And that to me was the huge selling point. Magnetizing that hand with the weapon, or both hands with the weapons, and the way the face goes on, it's perfect. It over the top design again from them. Perfect.
Yeah, and considering that one of the battalions is 3 of them, you can put 3 together, they look completely different.
Yes.
They've still all got that big body.
Yeah.
And it also came with probably the best nurgling.
Oh,
ever.
yeah.
The little Chaos Champion nurgling. He was legit.
He was awesome.
He
still is.
Yeah. He's the guy that does all the damage.
Yeah, you know it.
Especially when I give them the bell.
Sort of judgment.
So, my number 2 is actually something that I've changed it from the list, so you're going to be confused.
Okay.
It's going to be fun. You don't see very often in lists, but it's one of the new Night Haunt models. It comes in a box of 2, which is weird because it's a hero model.
Mm-hmm.
It comes in ones, but the Dreadblade Harrows. I just think the movement in those models, as well as the fact that they just look super cool.
Yeah.
It just reminds me of any sort of fantasy film where someone's gone across in a black coach, which hasn't made it to our list, but is a beautiful model.
Oh, God, yes.
But they're going along in their little coach, and these spirits just start riding beside them.
Yeah.
And you'd be truly terrified.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure.
Yes.
If you saw them coming. But I just think there's 2 in a box. I've heard that these are super fragile.
Yes.
But regardless, they just look beautiful.
Yeah, they're great. Great model. That whole new Night Haunt range is, well, I'm going to get to it here shortly, but it's just a great example of what, where they're going with their dynamicism that's built into it so that you don't have to convert that into the models. I mean, it used to be in order to make some of these models look good, you had to do a lot of work. You had to cut and green stuff. And nowadays you can pretty much shake the box, build them, and you get a really good looking army. I mean, yeah, there is some similarity to other people's, but you're always going to see that. But it's really great for new people that don't really they don't know how to convert, or people like me that don't have the time to spend. Yeah, it's awesome.
Or the people that, want a good looking thing, but don't want to take the risk.
Right.
Of completely messing up a model.
Yeah. That's huge.
Our hobby at times isn't cheap. And I think if you're taking that chance on a conversion,
yeah,
that's what you're doing. You're taking a chance and hoping your level matches what's in your head.
Yeah.
And I think it can be super despondent for people when they try and it fails. It's not to say you shouldn't try. I definitely think that from time to time. But these are easy build kits.
Yeah.
They're $25.
Mm-hmm.
And they've got a range of motion.
Yeah.
And they've got a standoutness. And I think that's key. And they're easy to paint as well. These CAD models are designed to take washes. They've got sharper edges, which I remember when these first came out and people were like, oh, that's terrible. It looks like it's done on a computer. And now we're like, oh, great, it was done on a computer.
Yay! It was done on CAD.
There's no, I was building some more Ardboys, and there's just areas that disappear.
Yeah.
They literally just disappeared. And you're like, okay, so when it comes to painting this, I'm going to have to think, where does this stop? Where does this end? Nowadays, it's just, that's a clear line.
Yeah.
That's what it does. So that's my choice for number 2.
Okay.
So who takes your top spot?
This is going to be weird because I don't know if everybody's going to go with this or even agree. Again, from a design and an aesthetic point of view, I went with Lady Olinder from the Night Haunt range. Just because, again, it's one of those models where you can spend as much or as little time painting it, and it will still look good on the table. But when you do go through the extra effort, you can make that model look so amazing. And of course, the pose, the look, the aesthetic of it all is just incredible. That model knocked me out the minute I saw it. I had to have one. I was like, oh my gosh. And then when you see the things that, Tyler Mengel and some of the other folks have done with it, it's just, wow. So inspiring, so crazy. But that was my top model, was Lady Olinder from the Night Haunt. I might be a little biased with the Night Haunts and the Nurgle, but hey.
I think we're all biased, right? It's your favorite at the end of the day.
Yeah.
My number 1, and again, I've changed it from the list in the time. Those that know me will not be surprised that I've changed my mind.
Randy's
times.
over there going, oh, God.
I'll hear about it, I'm sure. But I'm actually going to go for the Evocator kit.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And it's not, it's that flowing head of hair with the guy with the beard. That particular head.
Yeah.
In fact, my top model is just that head. I really do think that box came with so many parts.
Yeah.
And I was originally going to say the one that you get free, actually.
Oh, yeah.
That's great value, $8.
Yep.
Beautiful model. But I wish it had the bearded head.
The cool head, yeah.
And yeah, I have a bunch of heads, and I bought that box specifically for that.
For those.
But I think that, they're powerful in the game. No one's liking them right now.
Yeah.
Because they're whatever. But you can't deny that when you see them on the board, and you see them with their grand staves, or even with the swords, they just look beautiful. So that is my pick for the top model.
That's awesome.
Or models.
Yeah.
Maybe. Kind of cheat.
And, yeah, well.
I think there are some honorable mentions, though. I mean,
Oh, yeah.
we had Marathi this year as well.
Just beautiful.
First dual model
that
we saw. They came out, the Dracolines. They're weird. They're maybe not everybody's cup of tea. But
amazing.
Yeah, they looked really good. Even just the Blight Lord for the Nurgle. And I had actually forgotten the Nurgle came out this year. It's been so busy.
Yeah, it has been crazy.
And then you've got some of the endless spells. The Beastman Totem, I think, is great until you realize it looks like a penguin.
Yeah, until you see it. Yeah, but when you see it, you'll never not laugh at it again.
Yeah, but it's a great model. But yeah, so I think we've had a great year for models coming out and releases, for sure.
Yeah. So, shall we move on to products?
Let's go with products.
All right. You want to do yours first or me first?
Yeah, well, so products is a tough one because for me, a lot of the stuff kind of goes into the models or something to help the models. Probably number 3, and I think we're going to be aligned on a couple of these, but my number 3 would have to be Soul Wars.
Yeah.
The box set. I think it's great value. I think I kind of like that it gives you a spattering of different units without giving you the exact number. Mm-hmm. It's not geared towards building an army. It's geared towards the start of Soul Wars.
Right.
And you got the book in there as well.
Yes. That was an amazing value.
Yeah. Yeah. Some rangefinders, and you got some cool blue dice that I've never rolled, but I hear they're very good. Of all the Games Workshop dice, I think the dice that have come out with the Soul Wars set, the Dark Imperium set, they're all going down as, wow, these are good. It's because they don't have a skull on the 6.
Might be. Maybe there's something to that. I don't know.
Maybe. But I think that product that came out, that specifically the box set, and with that, the smaller box sets that came out with it as well.
Yeah.
I think Games Workshop have really nailed it down on these 3 different starter ways to do it. Whether it's you go with the big one with the book, you get some slightly different in the slightly smaller one, and then the really small one this time had completely different models in it.
Yes.
So there's a reason for people who have bought each set to jump in there.
Yes.
And purchase it. But it's also something super cool if you want to get a gift for someone who's just getting into it, and here's 3 or 4 models each side.
Well, and that Stormstrike box will teach you the entire game without burdening you. And it's one of those things where if you don't know, if somebody's on the fence and you're not really sure, you can invest in that for a hell of a lot less than a Soul Wars box. And if they don't pick it up, you're not out a whole bunch. Neither are they. So that's huge.
Definitely. So what's your number 3?
Well, along the same vein as yours, but I chose something that I think has been overshadowed, but the Maligned Portents book and what it represented going forward for the rest of the year, and the fact that it was a whole new way to play. And I thought that idea of the Maligned Portents and then the 4 characters that were released for that, so that everybody could use something, no matter what you played, you had access now to something that would get you into this Maligned Portents storyline. But more importantly, that this was a narrative focused effort. There was nothing in this for competitive play. I mean,
there was two scenarios in it. But they were enhanced by using some of the Maligned Portents.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it was a 2-pronged attack for sure. And, obviously the Lord Ordinator has become one of the most hated models in the range because of what he does, but that means he's good. I think, Destruction, getting access to a spellcaster like the Fungoid Cave Shaman and all that stuff, and as well as the Dark Oath War Queen, whatever she was. I mean, she's kind of underpowered, but, she's a great model for you to use as a proxy for something else, and maybe your Warlord. So, you can play around with it. But the focus of that product, I thought, was so perfect, because it said you don't just have to play 2,000 points versus 2,000 points with this scripted mission that you've played 20 times before. No, you can actually tell a story, have weird things happen that nobody knew going into the game was going to happen, and put that in the guise of a product that everybody needed to have. So everybody got a feel for narrative play from that. So I thought that was a huge release.
And it moved the story along, right?
Oh, yeah.
As well. There was all those short stories that accompanied it. And it led up to basically the Soul Wars.
Yeah.
It was
the precursor.
Yeah. And it's all those little stories were great. It fleshed out the background. It really made us aware of how terrible Stormcast could be.
Yes.
And all these superstitions that pop up.
Yeah.
All of them were pretty vague.
Yeah.
And you were like, well, who is this? What is this? What is it? Who are they talking about?
Yeah.
And we'd have discussions back and forth. Yeah, I think the product as a whole, and I think it was a tease as well for what's coming.
Yeah, what was coming. It was kind of the get ready for AOS 2.0 and Soul Wars, people.
Yeah.
I
think it's also shown where the model ranges are going. You've got the Fungoid, which hopefully will show where these Moon Clan are going when they come out. The Ordinator showed that not all Stormcasts just have that Spartan-esque body.
And the helm and everything. No, he looks like a guy that works for a living.
Yeah, and also, hey, you're going to be getting artillery.
Yeah.
It's coming.
Yeah, it's coming.
Because we're not going to make just a model to go with your dwarves on the board.
Yeah.
And then you had the Night Haunt. You had, you had that straight up, and that showed you the Night Shrouds.
Yeah.
Just showed you where the death was going.
Yeah.
And who knew that would actually lead to
that entire range?
Yeah.
Ooh, you're up next.
My next one is going to be, I'm terrible at this. I should really wrote all these down properly. I think it comes back to actually 2.0.
Yep.
Yeah. And I think this is Bill's number 2 as well.
Yeah, it sure is.
A new edition. And I think they took parts from 40k that worked and changed them so they're unique. The command points coming in.
Yep.
The missions changing
the
scenarios. From a match play point of view, really made you rethink how you did things.
Yeah. There was a whole shift in focus with this edition and breathed amazing amounts of new life into the game, I think, for everyone.
Yeah, I agree. I think, anybody that's writing a list now is thinking, okay, well, I can put this model in and use its command ability.
Yes.
Doesn't matter if it's a general. Unless you're Archeon, then
huge.
You have to still be general, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's some of them that have to be generals, but you can still use other command traits.
Yep, exactly.
So,
you're not losing out when that model dies anymore. You're just having to think, hey, do I keep some points back to get some of these command points?
Yeah.
Do I show up with less forces?
Do I try 1950 with an extra point,
extra point, maybe get a triumph in there. Battalions, the way, I think when they changed that in the General's Handbook 2017 and put all the prices up.
Yeah.
Everybody was like, oh, these are super expensive. Now looking at, if you look back and go, okay, well, they were maybe planning for 2.0.
Right.
Coming out a little bit, getting the pricing together for that with points. You're then looking at, okay, well, take off 50 points because you get a command point.
Yeah.
Oh, now that actually seems worthwhile. You also get an artifact, which who knows what price we could put on that, but I would say about 50 points.
Sure.
Again. Yeah. And then suddenly you're looking at it going, these are cheap.
These are now worth their points in a big way.
Yeah.
Yep.
So 2.0, big thumbs up.
Yeah. 2.0, along with the, the release of Maligned Sorcery, the endless spells, that whole wrapped up thing. It was it's a game changer. And now there's so much more stuff to think about. I was listening to Tony Moore on the Twitch stream the other day, and he was talking about how he was mentioning that there's ways to build armies where you make up for your weaknesses with a particular endless spell. And, this is Tony Moore we're talking about. This is no slouch. This is a guy that wins big. It's something to think about. You may not have this great ranged ability. Can you bring in an endless spell that mitigates or at least helps in that area? So there's so many things to think about with the realm spells and realm abilities. And when you tie the whole package together, the game's amazing.
Yeah. I think people have been picking and choosing which parts they use. I've yet to play a game where everything's in.
Yeah, and I think that's what needs to be.
And yeah, I kind of want to see that. I kind of want to see how does that work? Because at the end of the day, that's, we want to play in the realms.
Yeah.
What's the point in having realms if we're not going to play in them?
Yeah.
What's the point in Games Workshop as a company putting so much effort into these are how the realms work. Here's where the story's going. Here's where these artifacts are from. Here's where these cities are. If you're not going to play in them, it's, it seems a little bit of a disservice to the game.
Yeah.
And also, we're pushing around toy soldiers.
Yeah.
I think it also opened up huge, we touched on it earlier, conversion opportunities. If you are that type of gamer that wants to say, hey, this army is from here, and put the time in, put the effort in, and I see it all the time, where, especially on the forums, where people are going, okay, these are elves from fire.
Yeah.
And every single elf is converted to look, and it seems sometimes they're not converted, but they're painted with a cohesive color scheme that you would never have seen back in the day, because there was traditional schemes that everybody painted.
Elves are green and these are blue. And yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah, I remember one time where, actually, just to digress a little bit, but when the Storm of Chaos came out in 8th edition, I made the Cultus Slanesh elves list. And I used Dark Elf models, because that's what it was, but I painted them in High Elf colors. And I remember to this day someone going, well, they're wearing High Elf colors. And I was like, well, they're wearing colors.
They're just...
Yeah, I didn't really realize that was going to be an issue. But I wanted to paint them with blue because that looked cool. And I think opening up the realms really does. Just do that. It just gives you that option to do stuff.
It's great. So. It's absolutely awesome. Okay, so now I think it's your number one, right? Or is it my number one?
It could be both our number ones.
All right.
I think this is the epitome of design.
Yes.
I feel like they put a lot of effort into this. They ergonomically.
Yes.
It's changed the game for many a person. The Citadel Warp is got to be number one. It has grooves in it, so you can wipe off the paint more.
Amazing.
It's delightful. They should have just stuck with the mugs.
Yeah.
They would have sold so many more mugs.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Just put art on a mug.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, we're kidding. I think it is a hobby related product, but it is most definitely the paint handle and its two brothers that come along beside it.
Yes.
The big paint handle.
The XL.
And then the nipple clamp paint handle for when you need to keep your hands free, but still carry the model around. No, I think, I honestly do think, I've been using cork or, I know Scott,
he uses
from the LVO
Dixie cups and
Dixie cups, but it's good to know that you have something that's solid. It'll hold the model in place. You don't need to worry about, sticky back plastic or, blue tack popping off and it falling. It's in there. Once it's in there, it's in there.
It's not moving.
And you can flip it around. You can turn it upside down. I mean, the only thing that I would say is it's a little bit light.
Yeah. But you can fill you can unscrew it and then fill the bottom of the handle with, some BBs and some white glue or, whatever you have for weights lying around and a little bit of white glue, let it dry. And then it's, Yeah.
And I think actually that screwability part potentially could come in use.
Oh, yeah.
Even for just displaying, taking a 360 your model.
Yeah.
You screw it into a little Lazy Susan and, on a motor and just film it.
What I'm thinking about doing is finding the thread size and count for that bolt and then making, a painting stick that has, 4 or 5 of those in it so that you can just put them in the clamps, screw them down into that thing and spray paint away, prime away. So,
yeah, that'd be great. Great thing. Just have, just get a small, 1x2.
Yeah.
Then you could clamp. Think, oh man, yeah. That'll increase my priming. By far. Again, anything that gets rid of the chaos of trying to prime your models on a stick or doing bulk spraying.
Yeah.
I've now taken to just grabbing each model individually and spraying it. which wastes a lot of paint.
And a lot of time.
I used to put them on sticks, but I guess I might not be using the right thing because every time one model would want to bounce.
Oh, yeah.
And luckily, they're plastic, so it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
But when you see that model bounce off onto the concrete and skirt away, you're like,
just like, oh.
And it's normally after you're finished priming it as well.
Of course, always.
Never happens at the start.
No.
And I'm like, but I've given you a layer of paint to adhere.
Yeah. Shouldn't you stick better now? So, yeah, it sounds strange to have, an $8 paint handle be the product of the year. But honestly, yeah, we all know AOS 2.0 was the thing for the year. But you got to give them mad props. You can go on YouTube. You can go on any number of forums, Thingiverse. If you have a 3D printer, there are thousands of designs for paint handles out there and more coming every day. Hell, there's one going to Kickstarter here shortly. And yet this one just knocks them all out of the park because it's absolutely brain dead simple and it works flawlessly. There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah. The only thing that I would say is that the XL one could have been potentially built into the handle.
Yeah.
They've remedied that by saying, here's an XL one. So it really doesn't matter. But I'm glad they did that because I can't wait for the double XL so it can hold the Maw Crusher base.
Yeah, there you go.
That's trying to paint that.
Those clamps are going to be, oh my God. Yeah, we'll wait for that.
It's going to have two handles on it.
Yeah.
To give it stability. You're going to have to paint with your mouth.
Yeah. Well, so now, before we get into the books, I'd like to do some honorable mentions, some products and some ideas and some things that have come out this year that are worthy of note in any kind of year-end wrap-up. One I have to hit is the Middle-earth strategy battle game reboot that they did this summer. Breathed an entire new life into that whole game system. They also got a 2.0 rule set, cleaned up the rules, cleaned up the game, and just some of the models that have been coming out for that are just over the top cool. And, even if you play AOS, look at some of those Middle-earth models. They're not the same scale, keep in mind, but there's a lot of crossover that's there. And there's a lot of things. You were talking earlier about, Eidolon with dragon heads. Well, there's some heads on the winged beasts for the Nazgul that, I don't know, they look like they're going to be pretty darn easy to slap onto other models.
Nice.
And yeah, so the strategy battle game, I think, that reboot was over the top cool. And I was really happy to see for Adam Troke and Jay all that work they did and have been doing in the background for all this time to get some recognition for a job well done.
In the character models that are coming out, are they plasticizing them?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
For me is that the technology's got to the point where it can do and be profitable at the same time. The detail on a true 25 millimeter or true 28
true scale, 28,
miniature without losing that detail when you go to paint.
Oh yeah,
I agree. It looks like it's kicked off. I think Kill Team has been huge for 40K. I just see a lot of buzz about that. And then the thing that's just been recently released, good old Vigilis.
Oh, yeah.
I think seems to have just a positive impact around there.
Yeah.
And they've been building up to that all year. Which I think that's what's cool. So I think going into 2019, me personally, I'm going to be like, okay, what are they talking about right now? Where's this going to go? And start, conspiracy theorying, what is it going to be the year of? A lot of people are saying for Age of Sigmar, it's going to be destruction. I don't think one book necessarily makes it a destruction year. Yeah, they need a bit of love, but hopefully this one book does it. But I just don't know where the story's going to go. That's what I'm excited to see.
Yeah, just not knowing where and knowing that they're willing to go anywhere. So you can't even predict where they might head, which is awesome because as a hobbyist and as a pure fanboy, you just look forward to everything. It's like every day is Christmas. even though Christmas is like 3 days away. But every day is Christmas.
Yeah, but you don't have to buy other people presents.
Oh, sure.
So you can just buy yourself presents.
Okay, my bad. I have the whole thing wrong.
Every Games Workshop Christmas, which is every month.
This is a very recent shout out I want to throw out there, but I want to really congratulate Wade Price and the GW guys for rebooting the podcasts, the Voxcast and the Stormcast. I listened to those on the way up here, and I was really, both of those interviews were over the top good. You had Jess Goodwin for Voxcast talking about the design methodology and the thought process that goes into how they make those models and how that whole thing comes together. And I was like, this is stuff that it's just solid gold. It's you're looking into the mind of one of the great creators that, has been with GW for so long. And then on the AOS side for the Stormcast, you had Jervis talking about everything and the mindset. And what the part that struck me the most was him talking about the designer commentary and the facts that come out and, the scheduling of all that stuff and what their idea is for these mid-year facts. And then the General's Handbook comes out later. I think if a lot of people would listen to that Stormcast, they would have a better idea of where the mind of the creators are, where the mind of GW as a company is, and why, this big fact didn't have, massive point changes for every army and all this stuff. No, this is not what they're after. What they're after is to cohesivize or make everything more cohesive. So for our next honorable mention, what do you think, Ryan?
I think the Blackstone Fortress.
Yeah.
Great box set.
Yeah.
Builds on the rules from Warhammer Quest.
Mm-hmm.
The AOS side of things. But I think takes it to a new level. But not so much. I mean, great models, right? Beautiful models.
Beautiful models.
The game's pretty good.
Yes.
A lot of fun. But I think the thing that stands out for me most on it is they've taken this product and they went, okay, here's a box for this board game. Here is some beautiful models. Okay, you have that, you can play that, get your friends around.
Right.
You'll play it once every 4 years, potentially, when you can get 10 people in a room. But in the meantime, you can play it in Kill Team. You can play it in 40k. You can, there's rules there to use them in your games, in the games that you maybe play more regularly.
Yes.
And that's something that I want to see from Games Workshop all the time. We've seen it touch on it a little bit with the Shadespire stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But now I would like to see them make like a quick battalion even for, you've got the 3 Stormcast that are there. Okay, if you take all 3, they get a Shadespire bonus.
Yeah.
Or an Underworlds bonus.
Yeah, something.
Just incentivize people to use the miniatures that look beautiful just to get out there and get them on the board. Yeah,
and I mean they've done it in some small areas, like the Thorns of the Briar Queen is, pretty interesting, and of course Knave Black Talon is pretty cool to add to your regular game because she's pretty effective. And but I think that whole thing, I think they're still feeling their way through that, and it's coming more and more. You look at this Wrath and Rapture box. This entire box is for 2 different game systems, and everything you need is right in there. And, it's one of the only reasons I picked it up was because I have always wanted to do a Khorne force, and I just never have wanted to really just go out and buy everything for it. But now between the box sets and adding this to it and all that stuff, I think I have a setting for a good army to start up.
Yeah, and the Realm of Chaos stuff, this is the first box of that.
Mm-hmm.
You don't go to the effort of making a new logo. You don't go to the effort of making sure it looks cool, adding in an extra booklet, if it's not going to go somewhere.
Yeah.
So hopefully we start to see this 9th realm.
Yeah.
Hopefully there's an expansion for Chaos constantly attacks, right? the 8 realms, or 7 of them, and occasionally checks out his ear. How cool would it be if we start fighting back? We start going and we've started seeing it a little bit in the stories, books, where they go into these realms. So we have an idea roughly of what some of them look like.
Yeah.
But How cool would it be to just take the fight to Chaos on their own turf and probably lose terribly?
Yeah.
It sounds horrific. But some people can win.
But you know, when you look at all the way the storylines are going, the way the Stormcast Eternals are starting to get crazy, the more they reforge, it might be time for a Hail Mary. Might be time for something like that, an expedition to Nurgle's realm to bring something back that might help with that reforging process. I have no idea.
Where do the portents say, right? The Sacrosanct Chamber is out there trying to find the solution to the issue. I think it's Chaos Dwarf is one of the people hammering at the anvil of apotheosis.
Yeah.
But, that's not canon. So,
but...
or he's just getting old. Who knows?
Yeah.
But
missed a stroke.
Whatever it is, that's out there. The Realm of Chaos series. Hopefully, we see something similar for Tzeentch and Nurgle. That'd just be super cool for maybe even the Horned Rat. He's got something in there.
Why not?
So maybe we start to see some rat demons outside of that one big centerpiece.
And since Nurgle is pretty well fleshed out, Tzeentch is too, why not do, something with Skaven? You need to update that line too. Put them in there with somebody else to square off against. So maybe
even Dreams.
Yeah. That'd be cooler than candy. Yeah.
Popping up, they're going in there. They are the opposite of chaos, but they are still demons.
That's right.
And so they still could be in the realm. But
sure.
Anyway, I think that's just cross-functional boxes.
Yes.
I mean, I think that's a key thing.
Yeah. The Blackstone Fortress is a huge example of something that you can use those models almost any way you want to play the game.
Definitely. But I think that wraps up our New Dawn-ish. Books.
Well, books.
We didn't do
books.
Okay.
I know what my number one book is.
What's your number one book?
Simple. Oh, geez. I just decided. No, really. My number one book has to be the Soul Wars by Josh Reynolds. The book that came out with the release. That is such a phenomenal look at how the Stormcast are reforged. They pull back the curtain on that and show you this is what the process is, and this is why it doesn't always work the way, it's not perfect. And there's problems here. And it shows you the fallibility of a god named Sigmar. I mean, we've seen all these other gods have their failures. Well, you can argue that a lot of Sigmar stuff was oops. But I mean, they've portrayed this whole thing from the Realmgate Wars was he's just the conquering hero and the great guy. Now you see that he's a little, he's messed up too. And then you get to see this whole perspective of death and Nagash in a different, it started with the Undying King and it rolls into Soul Wars. It's amazing. It's just the indoctrination that the main character goes through to become death, to become Nagash is just, oh Lord. That's a great book.
Yeah, I would agree. The Callous and Toll series.
Oh yeah.
The second book in that, The Silver Shard,
Mm-hmm.
Was just a good adventure story. Really enjoyed that. I am halfway through, before I get to what I haven't finished. What I have finished is Realm Slayer.
Oh yeah.
Great take on, and I think we're going to do a review of this, so we won't speak too much, but great take on bringing an old character back into the Mortal Realms in the right way, I think.
Yes.
I've not been a big fan of that idea of bringing old characters back.
Right, me either.
But I think this was done in the right way, and we'll go over that in our review in the new year.
Mm-hmm.
However, I am going through the first Mark, Black Talon.
Nice.
Right now.
I want to do that one.
It just builds on, these Stormcasts, these Vanguard Chamber Stormcasts. These are the ones that don't go back to Azir every 20 minutes like Steve the Stormcast. They're out there constantly.
Yeah. Yes.
And it actually, there's a couple of really cool parts in it so far. I've not finished it yet, so it might take a nosedive, but I doubt it. But it's fleshing out the realms as well. It reminds me, or at least there's part of it which reminds me a lot of the book I Am Legend. And so if you've not read I Am Legend, don't watch the film. Read the book. Because the book has just a great part of it where who is the monster? is it the vampires or the monster that comes during the night, or is it the person that goes to kill the monsters? And at one point, Neve meets someone who just thinks that the Sky Knights are terrible. And, they just come in the slightest bit of chaos, the slightest thing, they wipe them out. So she doesn't want to speak to her, doesn't want to work with her. Turns out it was the Knights Excelsius.
Yeah.
Who knew?
Who knew?
But she's got to fight against that to earn this person's trust. And I think that really goes to show, not everybody wants to be saved by Sigmar.
Yeah.
Not everybody wants. And it's very, I hate to make this comparison because, people will go for it, but it is very much Emperor of Mankind and his empire.
Right.
You come on board or you get quashed.
Yeah.
The slightest change, you get quashed. But even his own folks, as I say, these Vanguard, they don't want to die.
Yeah.
Because they are starting to hear stories coming through. And they're Hammers of Sigmar, Vanguard. And, constantly they're getting reminded, we are Hammers of Sigmar.
That's right.
We cannot fail. We hold ourselves to a different standard. We should not be talking about this. And a couple of them are bringing up, well, have you heard about the guy that came back and couldn't speak? Or what about actual Vandis?
Yeah.
He got touched by X, Y, and Z. And, and then they're pulling rank and they're like, hey, come on, you can't talk about that.
Well, let's chill that stuff out.
But I just wonder where that's going to lead. But this book really helps with that. As I say, and it also just reminds you that these Stormcasts don't get to live normal lives in any way, shape, or form. Right near the start of the book, Neve goes off on her quest for the book, but she abandons her post to do it.
Ooh.
And so when you abandon your post from the Stormcast, they don't just send one or two people to get you. They send their entire host.
Oh boy.
Here's that section of the Vanguard are after her.
Wow.
Because her, Lord Aquila, is like, no, you abandoned your post and you better tell me why.
Yeah.
Stormcasts are dying. They're getting sent back because you're not at your post. So let's.
Yeah.
And you're like, well, what does it matter? Well, those people don't want to die.
Yeah.
And
it's not fun.
And so there is that internal struggle so far in the book. And I'm only up to like chapter 8 or so. This is a really great book so far. Listening to it on Audible.
Yeah.
So check it out if you can.
One of the interesting parts of that is, I think it was, not sure if it was Jervis or Jess Goodwin was talking about, it was Jess on the Voxcast. But he said it's kind of funny how in our settings, the greatest saviors for humanity have lost their humanity. They're no longer, they started as humans, but they're no longer human. And, the same thing applies to the Space Marines who are genetically engineered now, and they've lost touch with what it was to be human. And same thing with the Stormcast. Most of them have completely lost touch with who it is they're trying to save, but they're dedicated to saving them no matter what. So I think it's a really neat dichotomy that they're putting into the storylines.
You have to be separated from just another link to, actually, I've been playing a lot of Destiny recently. And I've been going through the campaign on that and the new Destiny 2. And there was another point just like that. The Guardians are very similar, right? They've been chosen, they've been imbued by light to go out and do what they need to do. And then they meet someone who's just a freedom fighter.
Yeah.
And she's like, hey, he's like, you shouldn't be outside the city. And she's like, well, what is freedom if you can't leave?
Right.
And that's, and I'm seeing this similar story everywhere.
Yeah.
But it's, where does Age of Sigmar take it? Where do these Stormcasts take it? Because we've seen where the Space Marines take it. And they just go, yeah, we're going to protect you. We're going to show up.
Yeah.
We're going to destroy you if you're a little bit different.
That's right.
And I think that's where the Knights Excelsis are, right? They are the true Space Marine or Stormcast.
Yeah.
But I think because of the difference in its genetics or its
mindset, really, yeah.
Or magic, pretty much, that brings you back. What really is happening there, and how are these people, the characters that we're building up, that we're starting to love and get attached to.
Yeah.
You know, how are they going to deal with getting reforged?
Yeah.
You know, as these characters get reforged and lose a bit of their humanity, and maybe start seeing people that they've had relations with before. Yeah.
Yeah, and that starts to come up in Soul Wars. So yeah.
But anyway, and it also had the Soul Wars also had fake Balthazar Gelt.
Oh yeah,
in it as well.
I love that. I love that tie-in. Truly love it.
Yeah, someone did have an interesting, and you can totally cut this part if you want, but someone had a total epiphany or light bulb moment.
That thing.
Yeah, I'm not good with words. So there used to be a fifth Chaos God, Malal.
Malal, yeah.
Yeah, who got his name changed to Malice at one point. Malice being the name that they give to the core of the world that was.
Yeah. Or the world that was.
And Sigmar held on to that for thousands of years and then uses the power from that to make his Stormcast.
Oh boy.
So put on your tinfoil hats because Sigmar is the fifth Chaos God and all his Stormcast are demons.
Okay.
Mind blown.
Yeah. The little smoke just came out of my ears. Yeah.
Yeah, a little puff. But, I mean, maybe. Probably not.
Probably not.
No.
That would be a terrible road to go down. But I wouldn't put it I mean, wow. Okay, tinfoil hats. Where are they?
Hats.
Where are they? I know where mine is at my house. Where's yours? Come on. Open the closet.
We're not in New Mexico. We don't have the tinfoil hats.
Oh, that's right.
We're above the radar here. We're so high.
Nice.
That's how it works. Anyway, so that's, there's been a fair amount of novels and books that have come out for Age of Sigmar. Haven't been able to read them all.
Yeah.
I've tried to pick them up, but there's so many short stories.
There's just, there's so much out there.
Which is great. It's starting to fill out the world. I'm really looking forward to the horror series.
Oh, yeah.
To see if it is actually true.
Yeah.
If it's going to make me super terrified of things in the mortal realms. But I think next year is going to be great for books.
Yeah.
We've got the kids series coming out.
Yes.
That comes out in February.
Cannot wait.
I can't wait to read a book that's going to have big enough letters that I can read.
Yeah.
So I don't need to audible it. Hopefully it has pictures.
Probably will.
And and we were just going to flesh out.
Mm-hmm.
It took Warhammer Fantasy about 30 years to get to the point where we were. And I think it's going to be a lot less time before we get super attached to this one.
I think so. When you even just start to listen through that Realm Slayer series, you kind of see where they're going and how they're going to approach lore in this. There's too much lore to just catalog it all because the realms are pretty much infinite. So you're going to get snippets and storylines here and there. I mean, there's already, just listening and finishing Realm Slayer, there's half a dozen modeling ideas in that book, and they just pass right by. It's not anything but those lines of Kadasa. I'm like, okay, I gotta have them. I gotta have them.
I've been trying to work out how just to do a skirmish man, right?
Right.
That's where you want these games where just make them.
Yeah.
Make me a little skirmish pack.
Yeah.
Gladiatorial combat. Yeah. When you release the Dark Elf, Malarian's elves.
Oh yeah.
He made the Gladiatorium. So Games Workshop, if you're listening, just make a Gladiator game. When you bring that out. And just give us a bunch of parts to put on human-sized models that aren't elves.
There you go.
And then we'll be good.
Mm-hmm.
Round shields in a pack. Just if you're listening. I know you're listening. Jarvis, you said that you hang out on forums. And so we're going to put this on a forum. So you can see it. But round shields would be nice.
Yes.
Yeah, thanks.
All right. So shall we call that done and move on to creation real fast?
Yeah, let's move on to our slightly shorter segments. And then we'll get to our lower segment and call it a wrap.
So now we're going to hit up with our real quick realm of creation. I don't have all that much because it's been a pretty busy week. And of course, it's Christmas time, so got a lot of other things to do. But one thing I did get done was I primed up the Astraeus battle tank for 40k. So that thing's going to be fun. Trying to do some panel highlighting and all that stuff on that big vehicle for it to be Raven Guard. So we'll see how that comes out. I don't know. Also, on my blog, I did a review of the Slow Fuse gaming brushes or paint brushes. They're really good brushes, and I go more deeply into it in the blog post, so I won't go crazy with it here. Slow Fuse gaming brushes. They're very, very good. And, one of the things, it's so hard to compare one set of brushes like, the Raphaels versus the Winsor Newtons versus GW versus, all these other brands out there. You're going to find the one you like and you're going to stick with it. But I definitely would highly recommend the Slow Fuse brushes. They have they got a lot of tuft to the hairs, so they hold a lot of paint. They have a lot of the hairs themselves are pretty firm, so they have a lot of snap to them, but they don't spray paint. Like when you take them off the surface, there's not a lot of, it doesn't get out of control no matter how thin you make your paint. So you can do your layers very nicely. And yeah, so I really liked those. I really thought they were good. But really, honestly, other than that, I haven't done much. I'm bad. I gotta keep working on my death stuff. Ugh. Anyway, what do you got?
So I settled kind of before I saw Aquaman on what I'm going to do. So I'm just going to be running almost 2 escalation things. Our narrative one, and then we have a new local player who realizes he has a lot of stuff, but not a set army. So I suggested we start small and work up rather than, hey, buy 2,000 points. But one thing that I am doing for the start of the year is just consolidating stuff. So I am doing, flash sales left, right, and center. Turns out it takes a long time to catalog what you've got when you don't keep it in a database and in shrink wrap. So
Who was right?
So I've made his Christmas. So I've been going through my cupboard of shame, which has actually moved into the room, which is probably part of the problem. But I'm consolidating down, as I was speaking to Matt, the local guy, just trying to condense down the amount of projects projects, quote unquote, that I have sitting around from the 6, 7, 8, 9 double figures to 1 or 2 that I can really focus on. And hopefully actually make some progress on. I'm kind of tired of borrowing armies, and I feel like I've done it all in 2018. Pretty much borrowed the entire time. And whilst I really appreciate that from everybody that's helped me out with that, it's really hard to focus on the gaming part when you're bouncing around constantly. So that's going to be 2019, 1 or 2 projects rather than double figures. And so for both of the escalation campaigns and hopefully a couple of tournaments. I'm slowly cataloging, boxing, taking count of hundreds of miniatures.
It's a pain, but you have to know what you have to know where you can go. It's
when you find that second Wall Crusher that was just lying around. That's always fun. It's when you realize you've got a stack of boxes, and in that stack of boxes is easily $1,500, $2,000 worth of models.
Scary,
and
isn't
it's not that big a pile. But you look at it and you go, why am I spending my money doing this? It just goes on. It's different for you. You literally do collect them in their shrink wrap. But for me, I'm like, okay, I want to get them out, want to get them painted. And all I'm doing is buying and shelving. Buying and shelving.
And it's,
And it's an endless cycle, and I need to break that cycle and get on to the next part. So.
And believe it or not, I want to build all these.
Yeah, sure.
I do.
That would involve the shrink wrap opening. I was just going to say Bill brought Wrath and Rapture up and he had to open it. Well, he didn't have to. He said, do you want me to open it? And then we took a 30-minute break as he cried outside. He held on to that saran wrap for a while.
I miss you.
And then what I thought was even better was he just opened the box. There was no shh.
Let the air come out.
Let the air, it was just like, okay, well, it's not going to shrink wrap on it.
Those models are too cool. Man.
Anyway, that's creation. Let's jump to battle.
I don't have much battle other than I have been playing a lot of the different offshoot 40K games. So I've been playing the Heroes of Blackreach game. That was, it was on their licensing show a while back. Came out from Devil Pig Games. It's a fun game. It's a board game. So no miniatures or anything like that, but it's a blast. It really is. The 40K Dice Masters, which I loved Dice Masters when it first came out for the superhero stuff, and I got rid of it all. And then this came out, and I was like, well, heck, jump into it. And of course, it forced me to jump back into Dice Masters too. So yeah, it's been terrible, but it's a fun game. It's completely different from anything. There's no miniatures involved, but it's a great game. It's a really super easy, fun game to pick up. And then, of course, like I tweeted out the other day, we played 40K Monopoly.
So put this into perspective. I did not see the tweets or anything like that. I saw this on the show notes that Bill wanted to talk about 40K Monopoly. And this was just after we had a conversation about how he wasn't going to buy 40K Monopoly because, I don't want to, it's the worst game ever. How was it, Bill?
It was, it's Monopoly. It's everything you expect Monopoly to be. It's crazy with a 40K wrapper on it. So what was funny was we were at the Warhammer store for their Christmas party, and he had a copy there. And to be honest, my wife was the one that saw it and said, "Oh, we should play Monopoly tonight." And I'm like, okay. So walk out the door with my $39.95 copy of Monopoly. Go home. 2.5 hours later, we're still playing Monopoly, and we're like, neither one of us can win. In a 2-player game, we were too evenly matched. I had a couple of properties that I'd built up. She had nothing, but she wouldn't hit my properties. So we were just going around the board making money. It was crazy. So yeah, we terminated the game.
Exterminatus.
Yeah,
pretty sure.
Pretty much. Nice. I don't think that will ever see the light of day again until I donate it to the library. So yeah.
And then they'll be confused.
Yeah.
We've got Monopoly here, and they're like, 40K.
Yeah, 40K. Whatever.
Put that in the kids section.
So what do you got for Battle?
For Battle, I played a couple of games with Matt, the new guy that's moved into the area.
Nice.
I drove out to his house last Friday. We played a couple of intro games. He had played first edition, but he hadn't played anything in the second. So we played 2,000-point games. He played Corn. I played Order. I lost twice. I'm going to say it was part of my strategy, to get comfortable with the new rules, but it wasn't. I just got beat. I think the best part was I tried to summon the Comet, this brilliant Comet. It was super cheesy bringing it to a 1,000-point game, but he had just beat me. So I was like,
I'll bring it in.
Corn. Failed to cast it 3 turns in a row.
Oh my God.
And then by that time, this wizard was dead.
Yeah.
So I tried to bring it out, and I couldn't roll more than a 4.
Oh man.
So I was like, "Oh, wait, just you wait until your bloodthirster gets hit here by the Comet." And he's like, "Okay, well, what's it doing?" I'm like, "Oh, just you wait." He's still waiting. I'll have to see what it does.
Maybe next week.
But no, it was kind of cool. It was kind of cool to get over there and play some games locally. So big shout out to Matt for having me over and let me play some games without having to travel for 3.5 hours.
Nice.
So that was good. But that is it in Battle. Yeah, I didn't play anything else. So let's move on to the lower section.
Okay, so now we're going to jump into the lore. And as we said at the top, we're going to dive a little bit deeper into starting up a narrative campaign than we did last time. I mean, last time we just talked a little bit about the one we were going to start and some broad overviews. This time we're going to talk a little bit more about the whys and the wherefores of starting a narrative campaign series. And when I say narrative campaign, it could be any kind of campaign. You could do a campaign matched play with, all the rules, or you could just go kind of crazy and make it all narrative, kind of like what I prefer personally, and I think you do too. But I think for me, the biggest thing when you're starting a narrative campaign like we're doing, the biggest thing you want to decide is the reason you're fighting. Why are these armies there? Why is this group of what could be a crazy mixture of factions depending on who's in your group and who's signed up for the campaign. Why are they fighting? What's the purpose?
Yeah, it's identifying what's the MacGuffin, right?
Yeah.
And it could be as simple as, as we touched on earlier with the Wrath and Rapture box, where it's a Khorne champion has turned to Slanesh, and rather than fighting, he wants to make a blade.
Yeah.
And that's why they're fighting, because technically someone's went across to the other side.
Yeah.
It could be Legends of the Painted Men had a thing on this where there's a statue and everybody wants to get the statue. That's super basic, super kickoff point.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Mortal Realms opens itself up to anything, really. It's finding something that will grab the attention of your players.
Right. And you take the pulse of your group. If they all want to play just competitive games, or even if you're doing tournament prep, if you're getting ready to go to LVO coming up here in a couple of months, maybe you just want to have straight out 2,000 point all rules games, to use those scenarios. Well, you can still tie it together by just saying, hey, you're in a pocket realm, and the only way to get out, to get to LVO, is, you have to fight your way out. You have to win. So, I mean, you can tie your storyline into any kind of gaming you want to do.
Yeah, I think the good thing about narrative is it lives that magical place between open gaming and match play.
Yeah.
I think you can pull elements from each into that narrative game and still have a successful campaign.
Yeah.
I think as I say, figuring out what that MacGuffin is and getting people excited about it.
Yes.
I think the worst thing that ever happens to a campaign is everybody's excited for the first month.
Yeah.
And they play 2 games or a game and then it dies.
Yeah.
Because there was no investment there.
Right.
And so that's where you sit down as a group. There's 2 ways of doing it. You could have a games master who's not really involved in the games, but he is creating the story. And then, or you can you come together as a group and go, what would be really cool? What are we fighting over? It could be as simple as a hill.
Yeah.
Or an area. I think Firestorm is a little bit like that, where you're trying to take over the areas so that you can get the ultimate power.
Yeah. And move all that stuff, get your forces where you want them to be and win the particular areas that you need that particular time.
Yeah, and I think it takes a lot of organization to get a campaign going.
Yep.
It takes very little to get it going.
Yeah.
It takes a lot to keep it going.
And I think one of the big things that you need to do when you're starting a campaign is figure out what's going to end the campaign first. Don't try to start something that's going to be a long running thing of just constantly, we're fighting over this one thing. Have an exit strategy so that everybody knows we're not going to be doing this for the next 2 years. We're going to do this for 6 weeks. Let's say you're setting your turns up for a week at a time. We're going to do this for 6 weeks. And hey, if it's great, then at the 6-week mark, we crown a winner and we move on to the next phase and you make a new MacGuffin. But have an end date, have a goal. And if you're doing just competitive play, hey, the first person that wins, 4 games, or the first person that wins 3 games, depending on the size of your group, of course, they win. And then you stop it right there. And if it was great, start another phase. If not, hey, then you haven't lost a whole bunch of investment and time, and you can move on to something else.
And you can move on. You can take what you learn as well. So I think everybody that I've ever spoken to and tried to start campaigns with have grand ideas. You have grand ideas of this campaign that's going to go all year long, and everybody's going to be committed, and by the end of the year you'll all have fantastic stories, and it'll accumulate in this giant battle where everybody has 4,000 points in miniatures built in beautiful scenery, and it's set in this particular realm, and you've got all this backstory. That's great if you can get there. But getting there is the problem.
Yeah.
And it's like with any learning, breaking it down into bite-sized chunks.
Yes.
So I like the idea of you have your end game of where you want that to be and where you want it to finish. I think once you have that, you can end your campaign at any point.
Right.
Your end game might just be that big mega battle, right? Everybody's forces coming together to get the the thing. If you set that expectation early on and say, okay, that's where we're going and that's what we're doing, then what you can do is go, you start to see the signs of it falling apart, you can go, okay, it looks like we're losing a bit of steam on this. We were planning on doing this with big 2,000 point armies. We've only got to 1,000 points. Let's play that big battle.
Right.
Let's play. It's not going to be as grandiose as we thought it was going to be, but it might be enough to reinvigorate your group to want to play in the second part. Or I think D&D does it really well.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody's cooperative in that, which makes it a little bit different. But you could show up and I don't think anybody, I think I saw it again on the internet, no one ever gets to level 20.
Yeah.
Level 20 is just a myth that's been made up.
Exactly.
Because people are more willing in that game to put time and effort in, get to a certain point and go, okay, we're done. And then move on with a new character.
Right.
Mainly because even if you're using miniatures, you have to paint one thing.
Yeah.
Right? I think if you go super aggressive as well and you go, okay, so week 1 we're 250 points.
Yeah.
Month 2 we're 500. Month 4 we're 750. You're going to lose people.
Yeah. Along the way.
Because things happen. People don't get painted. And
a new box comes out and they want to do that instead.
Yeah.
And it throws the whole campaign off when one guy changes factions. So, plan for things like that. Think about stuff like that. Don't try to make it, break it down into phases, First phase, 1 month, 1 week turns, and we'll see where we're at. And, if we want to re-roll and make new factions and, oh, by the way, I want to start Nurgle now. Hey, okay, let's do it at that point.
Definitely. And I think once you've got your end game, once you've got your idea, once you've got your players, then it becomes, okay, what type of campaign are we going to look at?
Yeah.
Is it going to be a ladder campaign? Is it going to be a map-based campaign?
Yep.
With smaller players, your map gets really small.
Yeah.
Or it could be massive and nothing happens.
Nobody meets anybody for,
And again, you're going to lose players because there's no interaction.
Right.
A simple, how are your forces divided? Do you have everybody in chaos bar one person? Do you have everybody playing order? If so, it's harder sometimes to justify that narrative behind it, but you can work with that. It could be, it's just battle simulations in the gladiatorium.
Yeah.
Simple as that. But
yeah, it's
you're accruing points in the gladiatorium to be the best of the gladiatorium, and it runs in a season. Who's the best of this season? Boom. That's it. It could be competitive. It could be narrative at that point. If you have more players, the more players you add, the bigger chance your thing's going to fail.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Unfortunately. In my eyes. And, I'm sure there's people out there that have run perfect campaigns. And if you have, get in touch. Let us know what you did to keep people engaged.
Well, there's a good way to play when you have 8-10 players in a campaign. There's a great way of doing it where not every player is required to play every week or whatever you've determined a turn is for your campaign. Let's say, a week, but it could be 2 weeks. Hell, it could be a month, but you can structure your points so that people get campaign type points for other things. So painting a unit could get you a campaign point. Playing a game of skirmish or playing a game of Shadespire or Night Vault or something like that can get you points. Other things can count towards the campaign. And so that person's not required to actually sit down and play a game of AOS that week. They might just sit down and play a quick game of, Night Vault and say, hey, this counts for a point. And you can get it going that way, or you can have it structured so that the points aren't so vital to the campaign that if you miss a week, you're not hurt.
Yeah, so the skirmish campaign is a great example of this that was set out from Games Workshop. If you're looking for a simple campaign, it can be easily actually adapted.
Oh, yeah.
To Age of Sigmar. But that campaign, it does not matter what happens for the first 5 games of that 6-game campaign.
Yeah.
It's whoever wins the last game wins.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, if you're winning, your force gets bigger.
Yeah.
But as you say, if someone can't make a game that week, 2 weeks, that period, you could build in a mechanic where, okay, you can have X amount of mustering.
Yeah.
weeks, and that's just where you're painting your stuff.
Yeah.
But you're mustering your forces. You're not taking any losses. You're not being active.
Yeah.
But it's again, it comes down to your player base.
Yeah.
What are they looking for? Are they looking for a proper narrative, story driven? Do they want to be given something that says, here's the story, here's the module, let's play in this? Or do they just want to go, I want to get regular games in and build an army over that time?
Yeah, and if you're going totally, truly narrative, and you're allowing crazy, strange things to happen, allowing your players to have a lot more agency to do different things spices up the campaign itself anyhow. So, for instance, like the Nova Open narrative campaign, there were so many opportunities to go in different directions. And I don't think at any point the organizers, Brian Orban and Aaron Bostian and Matt Tucker and those guys, they never once said, no, you can't do that. They found a way to work it into the overall storyline, no matter how crazy it was. And they weren't going to allow you to, well, I know it's a 1,500 point game, but let me bring my 2,000 point army. No, that's not going to happen. But, if it made sense and if it was going to move the story along, hell, just do it. Have fun with it. And maybe the campaign goes in a whole new direction because of something the players came up with and said, or you as a group came up and said, no, let's do this. And you keep interest in the campaign that way. In fact, on the Stormcast, they were talking about killing your darlings, murder your darlings. If you're the guy coming up with the campaign and you have all these great ideas, be ready to kill all of your great ideas when your players look around and go, yeah, that's not what I want to do.
Especially if you're playing in the campaign.
Oh, yeah.
It's so easy to get wrapped up in, this is a cool rule, this is a cool rule, this is a cool rule. And you add all these add-ons in.
Systems. And
slowly but surely, because subconsciously, you're adding benefit to your army.
Yes.
Without realizing it. And there's nothing that sours people more than showing up and going, okay, so we've got these new rules for this game. My force, because it's attacking and because it's painted blue, gets +2 to hit. And your army's painted red. Well, it does go an inch slower now. So, sorry about that. And and it's coming to a balanced thing. And that Murder Your Darlings is a great example of that. Is you want to be writing, or you want to be coming up with stuff that benefits the players of the campaign.
Everybody.
Rather than just what will benefit you. And it might be the best idea ever, and it might move the story along. Yeah. But if you don't have anybody to finish the story with, then it really doesn't matter.
Yeah. And that to me is the biggest thing of running campaigns, is just understand that not everybody looks at it the same way that you do. They might not want to have this special mechanic in the game because it doesn't appeal to them. It may be the best rule you've ever crafted. Be ready to kill it.
Well, and also you could have some players that really like the balancedness of points. Mm-hmm. You could have some players that don't care for points. You could have some people that only like to play the match play scenarios, even if they're dressed as a narrative scenario. Mm-hmm. And then you've got other people that will like the open war cards, that randomness.
Yes.
And so I think that the biggest thing that we're saying here is learn your player base, learn what they're going to do and what they want to do within it. Set the structure, but be flexible enough to change it at a moment's notice. We're not doing surgery here. We're not working on a flight to Mars where everything needs to be exact, right? Be free flowing with it. Be flexible. If someone comes with a great idea, don't squash it.
Right.
Because that's what's going to keep these players in the game for longer.
Yep. It goes back to that whole role-playing thing like you mentioned before. The answer to almost any question should be yes and. Yeah, sometimes it doesn't fly down the direct path of the thing that you wrote. But if it's going to make it more interesting for everyone, and again, when you're doing this yes and thing, make sure you're not pandering to one or two players who want to play a certain way and no one else does. Keep in mind that you might have players in a group where 3 of them want to do one thing and 2 of them want to do another. You kind of have to meet in the middle somewhere. And sometimes you're going to lose players from a campaign because they no longer want to play that way. And just, understand that it's not for everyone.
And get that agreement at the start as well.
Oh,
though,
yeah.
From, don't show up to a narrative event with your cutthroat list if that's not what's expected.
Exactly.
That might be narrative for you. And I know Rob Symes would say that every army in Age of Sigmar at the moment is narrative.
Yeah.
Because they're built around a theme and how the army plays, and they feel like how they should play.
That's right.
And that's all well and true. However, I think when you're starting, and certainly if we put the match play side to the side, just the campaign, where you're just playing to win and that's it. If we start going on the route of a narrative campaign, why does your army have that in it? Why would your general be able to make every sort of judgment that was ever made?
Yeah.
Why do they have that ethereal amulet? Yeah, it's an item. Yeah, they might be from that realm, but there's only 8 of these artifacts in the entire realm.
Yeah.
Why would a guy who's playing a 500-point game, if you are using points, but a small warband, have this insanely valuable and powerful item? That's where the random rolling comes in.
Yeah.
It might not be optimized. It might not be the tournament-winning list, but if he's rummaging through some treasure,
some treasure hoard,
it might be game-wise very little use, but it's a story.
Yeah.
And the times that item gets used will generate a story. And I think working with your player base when you're looking at a narrative idea, to instead of looking at how did your game go, did you win, did you lose, looking at more of what happened.
Yeah.
What was cool?
What story did you tell?
And rewarding that, I think, is the key thing as well. Someone can give you a great story, they get an extra point in the campaign.
Yeah.
If something truly epic happens, it changes the campaign. And again, we're getting a little bit grandiose with it, but I'm trying to be fairly general with what goes on.
That's all we're trying to do.
The actions of the players should dictate how the campaign ends.
Yep.
If they've muddled through it and this person's just lost.
Mm-hmm.
You get to that last battle, they might not be too enthused to play because they've just been getting their ass handed to them.
Yep.
So maybe you let them change up their list. Maybe you let them bring in something super powerful because they've brought in reinforcements to try and level the playing field.
Yeah.
They went nuclear to try and win.
They're calling in everything.
Because they've got nothing else to live for.
Right.
So it could be a last stand. But yeah, I think working out the player base, working out what type of games you're going to play, and then having someone organized enough who can round up cats.
Yeah, herding cats is the biggest.
Is the big thing.
Yeah.
If you can't get people to play, then why are we having a campaign? And it's almost where you preempt and go, okay, let's meet up once, twice a month to start with, and let's just play games.
Yeah.
Okay, we're playing regularly. Now do you want to do
Now
this?
let's start.
I don't think you should be like, okay, well, I'm not getting games in. Let's start a campaign.
Yeah. Or let's start a campaign to try to get games going. That's usually a bad answer.
Yeah. And there's a difference between a narrative campaign and escalation league.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely. I think an escalation league works better for that.
Yep.
Where you're going, we're starting small because not everybody has stuff.
Yeah.
But you take that and you're on with it. So.
Yeah, we're doing that quick path to glory thing just to get, some stuff going. We've taken a break pretty much for December. The holiday season, we basically took a break because, it's too hard to get all these guys together and, you have family things, you got holidays, blah, blah, blah. It's crazy. It's hard. So, be prepared to take a break or even end it and start over because people's interests have changed or, we were doing this map campaign based on this and we don't want to keep that up anymore. It's not really adding a lot to it. Let's move over and do Firestorm instead, or let's just agree to do games round robin style,
I think when you end a campaign, the biggest thing that you can do, even if it failed, is whoever it is that's in charge of running it, whoever it is that's sitting there and doing it, they should write a recap. So that the people that were involved, whether it failed or whether it did nothing, they feel like a sense of accomplishment.
Right.
Because no one does this just for fun.
Yeah.
Well, they do. But
well, it is just for fun. But
you want to feel like your time's been well spent.
Yes.
I think that's, as I was speaking to Matt the other day, the hardest thing for me anyway is getting the motivation to paint when there's no end game.
Yeah.
I do enjoy painting, but there's so many distractions, so many things where I can go, okay, if I don't paint tonight, I can play games. If I play games, there's a goal, there's an end game.
Yeah.
I'm done. I've had fun, but I feel like I've accomplished something, not just painted a miniature that's going to sit on my shelf.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that why we all paint before conventions?
Yeah,
because
deadlines.
Yeah, deadlines. That's why we all paint. It's because there's a convention coming up.
So I think as we flesh out our campaign, as we get together and play our games, I think this could be an ongoing thing where we just touch on the pain points, where we touch on what's working well.
Yeah.
As well as giving you I think we're going to go fairly narrative with ours.
Oh, yeah.
And that way you'll get a little update from our generals. A little dossier.
Yeah.
Whenever we're playing.
An outbrief.
Yeah. And then we'll talk about our games and how I lost the bill. Because he moved his stuff out his deployment, so that'll be great. But no, it'll be fun. And I think that's a brief introduction. I think, as I say, as we go through ours, we'll touch on the decisions why we made it.
Yep. And
hopefully this is a help to someone who's looking to get into narrative gaming. I would say the biggest resource for that is the Neon. The Narrative Event Organizer Network.
Yep.
Even if you're not trying to put on an event per se.
Yeah.
And that could be a good way, kicking off or ending your campaign as well.
Yeah.
Is running an event where you can kick it off, you get everybody built up, excited for it, or you end it on a big event, which is one day everybody getting together. Or you do both.
Yeah.
Kick it off and end it with these big events. And I say big events, but even could just be a half day.
Sure. It doesn't have to be, a 3,000 point, throwdown with 10 people. So, all right. So that's going to wrap up our quick look at starting a narrative campaign. When next we meet, we'll probably jump into different kinds of campaigns, like, map campaigns, ladder campaigns, just different methodologies of running a campaign. So we'll jump into that next time. But also next time, we're going to do the Realm of
Shayesh.
I know that one.
I don't. No, I'm kidding. There's so much on it. It's going to be a bumper episode, I think. We're going to talk a fair amount about it because with Soul Wars, it is now one of the most looked at campaigns, and it shows up in a lot of places.
Yes.
Showed up in Realm Slayer.
That was such a cool scene.
We will not list out all the underworlds. That's not going to work. But we will. We'll touch on that. I'm looking forward to it. It's the last big one before. What do we have left?
Let me see. We have Shayish. Oh yeah, Gyron. Yeah.
Yeah, because we did Ashi.
We did actually at the beginning.
So
yeah.
This guy ran left.
Yeah.
How great that we have life and death left to go.
Who knew?
But we will end on the positive with life.
That's right.
So we'll do Nagash.
We'll start the new year off with death.
We'll start off with a bumper episode. How's that sound? So
it's a big realm.
Yeah. A couple of things before we finish off. We need to announce the winners of our competition for Palanquin.
Yes, our Palanquin secret word given to us by Randy quote Salt Hill.
Oh yeah, we didn't even recap on the. Oh, by the way, the rest of the tournament was great.
Oh yeah,
I got best sporters.
You did,
which is wrong. So wrong.
I like playing you. I don't know why you say you beat me every time, and I still like playing you.
I had to play me Kyle Bennett just at the end there in the last game. It went on a while. And I worked out why there's people who don't like playing Sylvaneth just to end on here at times. And it's because they have so many rules and so many slightly different rules. I didn't play the army. I was playing against it. Poor Kyle. I just feel for him because every time he stands there, he has to explain 52 different times.
Oh, yeah.
For -1 to hit.
So,
yeah. But I had a great time. I got to play Zach as well. So I've now played all of those NoCo guys, which is great. Zach beat me due to the fact that when you're just running Archeon, you don't have a lot of bodies.
Yeah.
And who knew Stormcast could teleport?
Who knew?
I
think everyone.
Zach knew.
Yeah.
Zach definitely knew. Although he actually moved his stuff and then went, did I just win the game? I was like, on this dice roll for priority.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, you did.
He's like, oh, cool. I won by mistake. That's good. Anyway, so getting back to our competition, it was given us to Randy, the Salt Baron of Gur Hill. And everybody spelled it correctly, which
I know, that was crazy.
There was no
twice in a
wrong-
row now.
Yeah, it's almost as if you can Google these words.
Almost.
How they can spell. But our two winners are...
All right, so from our Facebook and Twitter feeds, the winner is Mr. Chuck Bell. Chuck Bell. Is there a Chuck Bell in the... Oh, no, wait, he hasn't heard this yet. Okay, sorry. So yeah, Chuck Bell, I will be getting with you here shortly. I know you're out there on... I have you on Twitter, so I will drop you a note as soon as this podcast drops. Now, let me go over here and get the Patreons ready.
This really makes great radio. It's brilliant.
Yeah, but I'm going to edit out these long pauses. Or maybe I will if I don't forget. I'll probably leave it in now because I said all that stuff. Okay, so for our Patreons, our winner is number 9. Oh, my boss, Luke Snell. Luke Snell, I know him. He was my guild leader at the Nova Open Narrative. So,
Awesome.
Yep.
Well, congratulations, folks.
Yeah, congrats, guys. Well done, well done.
Okay, so now, Bill's been thinking about this for the past 12 hours that we've been recording this hour-long podcast.
He's lying.
What is Bill's word going to be?
So after much deliberation and searching Twitter to make sure we didn't screw this up, the word for the last and final and ultimate drawing will be the new chaos model, Karanak. So hashtag Karanak, and you have to spell it right. It's chaos. But that one should be pretty easy. It's in the Wrath and Rapture box, and it's a cool new flesh hound that I'm looking forward to building and painting, actually. So
Nice. May he hunt you down, you be his quarry,
yeah,
and he makes a present appear at your house.
that's right. And I'm not saying anything, but I am going to say that the airbrush hasn't gone out yet. So this is the last chance to win the airbrush. So
Interesting.
yeah. So
Nice. Because there's one box that's slightly heavier than the rest.
exactly. Hey, this one's heavy. So anyway, is that it for us today?
I think that's it. We will be back in a couple of weeks' time with The Realm of Death. Thanks for listening, everybody. If you have any feedback, please do send it to Bill, and he will disseminate it to me. And if you have run a successful campaign, get in touch.
Yeah.
We would like to maybe speak to a few people and see their thoughts on running narrative, and how do you keep those people engaged, and how did you start it?
Yeah.
I think is the topic that we can touch on again next time we're here.
Yep.
So from me, that's a goodbye. And from Bill, that's a goodbye as well.
If you would like to get in touch with us, you can reach us on our Facebook page, www.facebook.com/rollingbadpodcast, all one word. Our Patreon page is at www.patreon.com/rollingbadpodcast, again, all one word. The Twitter account for the show is at rolling_bad, and our individual Twitter accounts are, for me, at Bill Castello, Castello, and for Ryan, he is at RT Gamer. All of our guests on the show will have their contact information in the show notes, and any products that we mention will also be similarly placed in the show notes. The music for the show is used courtesy of Kevin MacLeod at incompetech.com and used under the Creative Commons license.
Stormcaster, cool.
Welcome to the Rolling Bod.
Welcome to the Rolling Bod podcast. On the way from Iceland.
I'm not Chuck Moore. I don't have a bod. God, I'm not ripped.
Could be a rolling bod, though.
Yeah, that's true. I could be a rolling bod. Yes, I'm in shape. Round's a shape.
Stormcaster, cool.
All right, so our... It's not even connected to the freaking internet, but it's like, you need to update your virus protection. How the hell am I going to do that without a connection, you stupid piece of...
How do you even know computer?
Yeah. What, is there something out there?
Stormcaster, cool.
Sorry, you have a blog? Is your name Chuck?
I swore to him we wouldn't do that anymore.
Okay.
Oh, well.
So,
Yes, I have a blog
So
too.
you have a blog?
Yes, I do.
Okay, cool. Well,
I will link to it in the show notes.
sweet. There we go.
Stormcaster, cool.
And Korn is just releasing the flesh hounds
The
right now.
hounds.
I apologize if you can't hear my dogs. We will take a quick break.
Yeah.
And I will go and take care of them.
Entertain them.
Yeah. Sorry about that.